All right, so have you ever caught yourself just daydreaming, you know, about life on the open road, like that whole trucker vibe?
Yeah.
Well, today, we're getting a little taste of that world,
Okay.
but from the comfort of well, wherever you're listening to this,
Right.
we are diving deep into the world of freight dispatching,
Okay.
a business you can run from practically anywhere.
Interesting.
Our roadmap for this journey is Kayla Hobson's freight dispatcher training.
What I find most captivating about this is that you don't actually need to own a fleet of 18-wheelers to be a success in this industry.
Right. That's the hook that got me too. But before we hit the highway,
Yeah.
let's break down what a freight dispatcher actually does. It's not just about yelling, breaker 1 to 9 all day, right?
Not quite.
Okay.
Think of it this way. You're like the conductor of a giant logistical orchestra. You've got the shippers, the folks with the goods to move the carriers. Those are your truck owners and operators, and then the brokers who act as middlemen. The dispatcher is the maestro, making sure everyone is in sync, finding the right loads for the right trucks, negotiating the best rates, and making sure that cargo makes it from point A to point B without a hitch.
Okay, so it's like a giant puzzle matching trucks to cargo and keeping everything moving smoothly.
Yeah.
But Hobson's book mentions a pretty daunting stat.
Oh,
90% of new dispatchers fail in the first month.
wow.
What's causing that kind of crash and burn rate?
Well, one major culprit is jumping in without really understanding the industry's complexities. It's not as simple as just connecting dots on a map. There are regulations, different types of cargo, specialized equipment.
Mm.
A new dispatcher might end up pairing a flatbed truck with a load that needs refrigeration, for example.
Oh.
That's a recipe for disaster delays, fines, maybe even spoilage.
Yikes. Definitely not the kind of efficiency we're going for.
Yep.
So, lesson 1. Knowledge is power. What other pitfalls do newbies fall into?
FOMO. The fear of missing out can be a real roadblock, too. You see other dispatchers booking loads, making money, and you feel this pressure to jump in head first without doing your due diligence. That can lead to taking bad deals, working with shady brokers, and ultimately burning out before you even get rolling.
It's like hitting the gas before you even know how to steer, so patience and preparation are key.
Exactly.
Hobson also warns against relying too heavily on surface-level info like quick Google searches or YouTube videos.
Right.
Kind of ironic, since we're a podcast, but...
Well, there's a difference between quick tips and deep knowledge. Hobson provides that depth, that structured understanding you need to build a sustainable business. That's where this deep dive comes in.
Okay, so Hobson lays out a step-by-step approach. And get this, it's all geared towards building a dispatching business from home.
That's amazing.
No need for a fancy office or a team of assistants. Now, I'm not going to lie, the idea of running a business in my pajamas is pretty appealing. Where do we even start?
First things first, the legal stuff.
Okay.
Hobson walks you through the essential groundwork on page 32, getting your business licenses, making sure you're properly insured. It's not the most glamorous part, but it's crucial for protecting yourself down the line.
Solid foundation, check. Then there's the language barrier. Page 39 and 40 are like a crash course in trucker lingo. I'm talking BOBELs, DATs, all sorts of acronyms. You got to speak the language to play the game, right?
Absolutely. Imagine trying to book a load without knowing what a bill of lading is, that's your BOL, or how to use a load board like D-Day. Communication is key in this industry. Clear, concise, and using the right terminology builds trust with your carriers and brokers.
All right, so we've got the legal setup. We're fluent in trucker talk. What's next?
Finding your first carrier. This is where things get really interesting. Hobson calls this her killer strategy and dedicates a whole section to it on page 58. Landing that first client, that first trusting relationship, can make or break a new dispatcher. It's about more than just offering them a load. It's demonstrating your competence, reliability, and dedication.
Killer strategy, huh? Now I'm really intrigued. But before we get to that, we got to find those loads right.
Right.
The book mentions load boards, pages 64, 71, and 78. And there's even a tantalizing mention of an elite dispatcher's secret for snagging high-paying freights.
Oh, wow.
Tell me more about these load boards. What makes them so important?
Load boards are your digital marketplaces, your connection to the world of available cargo. They're where you'll find the opportunities, but they can also be overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real art to using them, effectively knowing how to filter, how to negotiate, how to identify those golden loads that are a perfect match for your carriers.
Sounds like there's more to it than just clicking and booking.
Yeah.
But it's not just about grabbing any load, is it? We need to make sure we're working with reliable brokers, people who will pay on time and treat our carriers right. What's Hobson's take on that?
She dives into choosing brokers on page 81, and it's all about due diligence.
Okay.
You need to vet potential partners, look at their track record, their payment history, their reputation in the industry. Partnering with the wrong broker can lead to payment delays, disputes, and even damage to your own reputation.
So it's about more than just finding a load. It's about building a network of trusted partners.
Exactly. It's about creating a solid ecosystem where everyone benefits: the shipper, the carrier, the broker, and of course the dispatcher at the center of it all.
Okay, so we found the load, we vetted the broker, now it's time to talk money, right?
Yeah.
What does Hobson say about setting rates?
Pricing is crucial.
Okay.
Too low, and you're undervaluing your services and potentially setting yourself up for burnout. Too high, and you'll price yourself out of the market. Hobson provides a framework for finding that sweet spot on page 87, taking into account market conditions, the type of load, and your own financial goals.
It's like finding that perfect balance between profit and sustainability.
Yeah,
And once the wheels are rolling, we need to keep an eye on those shipments.
of course.
Hobson really stresses the importance of tracking on page 96.
Think of tracking as your safety net, your early warning system. Things happen on the road, weather delays, traffic snarls, even the occasional flat tire.
Yeah.
A good dispatcher uses tracking tools to stay informed, anticipate problems, and keep everyone in the loop. Hobson even says that mastering this can solve 75% of dispatching troubles.
So it's not just about connecting the dots, it's about managing the unexpected, being that problem solver who keeps things moving smoothly even when there are bumps in the road.
Exactly. And that brings us to the final stage of Hobson's framework: branding and scaling. Page 106 is all about thinking long-term, building a recognizable brand, expanding your client base, maybe even hiring staff as your business grows.
So it's not just about being a dispatcher, it's about building a thriving enterprise.
Precisely. It's about taking those initial steps, those foundational skills, and transforming them into a sustainable, profitable business in the dynamic world of freight dispatching.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here, from the nitty-gritty of legal setup to the art of negotiation and the importance of tracking those precious shipments. But Hobson doesn't just leave us with theory, right? What about the practical side?
That's what makes her approach so valuable. Remember that 90% failure rate we talked about?
Yeah.
Hobson wants to equip new dispatchers with the tools to beat those odds.
Wait, what kind of tools?
She includes live walkthrough videos, templates for essential documents, even sample scripts for those tough conversations with brokers or carriers.
It's like having a mentor in your pocket, guiding you through each step. So it's not just about learning, it's about applying. It's about turning information into action.
Exactly. And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive. We'll move beyond the basics and delve into the real-world skills and strategies that separate successful dispatchers from the rest.
I'm ready to shift gears and hit the road with those practical insights. Stay tuned, listeners. We'll be back soon with more from Kayla Hobson's Freight Dispatcher Training. Welcome back, listeners. We're hitting the road again, exploring the world of freight dispatching. In part 1, we laid the groundwork, but now it's time to really get behind the wheel and see how this plays out in the real world.
Yeah, it's one thing to understand the theory, but actually navigating the day-to-day realities of this industry is where the rubber meets the road.
Right. We talked about finding loads, choosing brokers, but what about those moments when you're in the thick of it, negotiating rates, dealing with those unexpected delays, keeping all those metaphorical trucks moving? Hobson really emphasizes that human element of dispatching.
Absolutely. It's about building those relationships, mastering communication, and becoming like a problem-solving ninja.
Oh, wow.
Let's start with negotiation. Remember, you're constantly working to secure the best possible rates for your carriers, while also making sure that the brokers are happy.
It sounds like kind of a delicate balancing act, almost like a game of chess where each move has consequences.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. A skilled dispatcher knows how to read the board, so to speak. They understand those market fluctuations, anticipate challenges, and can confidently advocate for their carriers while maintaining those crucial relationships with the brokers.
Hobson actually provides sample scripts for those tough negotiation conversations. What stood out to you about those scripts? Did you find them helpful in your own experience?
They're incredibly valuable, especially for those new dispatchers who might be intimidated by that back and forth. Hobson's scripts highlight the importance of being assertive, but also respectful.
Okay.
It's not about bullying or manipulating. It's about finding that win-win solution where everyone feels good about the deal.
So it's about building trust, not burning bridges.
Right.
Hobson seems to emphasize that throughout the book, that this business is all about relationships, not just transactions.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Building those strong relationships with both your carriers and your brokers is crucial for long-term success. Carriers want to work with dispatchers who they know will get them good-paying loads and treat them fairly.
Right.
And brokers want to partner with dispatchers who are reliable, efficient, and always professional.
It's about becoming that, like, go-to person, someone they can rely on.
Hmm.
But how do you actually cultivate those strong relationships? Is it just about being nice and responsive?
It's more than just being friendly. It's about being proactive and understanding their needs. Anticipate those challenges before they even arise.
Oh, okay.
Keep them informed about load details, potential delays, anything that might impact their business.
Okay.
Transparency and consistent communication are key.
So clear and consistent communication builds trust and prevents those frustrating misunderstandings that can cost everyone time and money.
Exactly. And speaking of time and money, let's talk about the problem-solving aspect of dispatching. We've mentioned it before, but it's worth diving deeper. Things rarely go perfectly according to plan in the freight world, right?
Right. Flat tires, traffic jams, sudden weather changes. It sounds like dispatchers need to be ready for anything.
Adaptability is key. Hobson calls it navigating the bumps in the road, and boy, are there a lot of potential bumps. Imagine this. You've booked a load, the truck is en route, and suddenly, bam, engine trouble.
Okay, that's definitely a bump. What happens next?
A skilled dispatcher springs into action.
All right.
They find a nearby mechanic, coordinate repairs, update the broker, and keep the carrier informed every step of the way. It's about minimizing that downtime, managing expectations, and finding creative solutions to keep that load moving towards its destination.
So it's like being part detective, part air traffic controller, part therapist, just keeping everyone calm and informed while juggling all these moving parts?
Exactly. And one of Hobson's most valuable tips is about having those backup plans. Anticipate those potential problems and have those contingency strategies in place.
Like a mental checklist of what ifs and then whats.
Precisely. Build a network of reliable contacts mechanics, towing services, alternative carriers, so that when something goes wrong, you're not scrambling to find solutions at the last minute.
It's like having a toolkit of resources just like right at your fingertips, ready to tackle any challenge that comes your way. And speaking of tools, we can't forget about the tech side of things. It's not just about phone calls and spreadsheets anymore, is it?
No, technology plays a huge role in modern freight dispatching. There are load boards, transportation management systems, all sorts of software designed to streamline operations, improve communication, and give you a competitive edge.
Hobson actually recommends specific programs in the book, right?
She does. She understands that navigating the world of dispatching software can be overwhelming. So she provides guidance based on different budgets and needs.
Okay.
Whether it's a free load board or a comprehensive TMS, there's a tech solution out there to help you manage your business more effectively.
So it's about embracing those tools, using them to your advantage, but not letting them replace those crucial human connections.
Exactly. Technology can enhance communication and efficiency, but it's the dispatcher's skills, experience, and relationships that truly drive success in this industry.
And those skills are constantly evolving, right? The freight world is always changing with new regulations, new technologies, new market trends popping up all the time.
That's why Hobson stresses the importance of continuous learning. Attend industry events, network with other professionals, stay up to date on the latest trends and best practices. Never stop learning and refining your craft.
It's about embracing that growth mindset, being adaptable and open to new ideas. So we've talked about the soft skills, the problem solving, the tech tools. It's a lot to juggle. But at the end of the day, this is a business. We need to talk about the financial side of things. How do we make sure we're not just surviving, but thriving in this industry?
That's where we'll shift gears in part 3. We'll dive into the money matters, from setting rates to managing expenses to maximizing your profitability as a freight dispatcher.
All right, listeners, get ready for the financial deep dive. We'll be back soon to break down the numbers and explore how to build a successful, sustainable business in this exciting world of freight dispatching.
All right, fellow freight enthusiasts, buckle up. We've talked shop, we've covered the skills, but now it's time to address the elephant in the cab, the money. We're diving into the financial side of freight dispatching.
Yeah, it's the question on everyone's mind, right? How much can you actually earn in this business?
Exactly. And Hobson doesn't shy away from that. She lays out the income potential, but also makes it clear that this isn't some magic money tree.
Right.
It's a business. And like any business, it takes work smarts and good financial management.
Couldn't agree more. It's about building something sustainable, not chasing those quick riches.
So let's break it down. How does a freight dispatcher actually get paid?
Typically, you earn a percentage of the gross revenue from the loads that you book for your carriers. So the more you move, the more you make. But there's some nuance to it.
Okay, so it's not just about quantity, there's a quality factor too.
Absolutely. The percentage you earn can vary wildly. Your experience level, the types of loads you specialize in, your negotiation skills, all of these play a role.
Uh-huh. So those negotiation tactics, Hobson outlines, really come into play here. You're not just matching trucks to loads, you're advocating for your carriers, getting them the best possible rates.
Exactly. A sharp dispatcher can negotiate a higher percentage, especially as they build a reputation for delivering results. It's about demonstrating your value, not just settling for whatever the broker offers.
Hobson even gives some benchmarks on page 87, those typical percentage ranges based on experience and load types. It's great to have those real-world figures to aim for.
It helps set those realistic expectations. You can map out potential income streams, set financial goals, and track your progress.
Okay, so we've got the income side. Now let's talk expenses. What are the costs involved in running a dispatching business? I imagine it's pretty lean compared to, like, say, opening a restaurant.
Definitely. Especially if you're working from home, that overhead is pretty manageable.
Yeah.
You'll have your basic equipment, computer, phone, internet, and of course, any software subscriptions.
Right, the essential tools of the trade. Those load boards, transportation management systems, they all come at a cost.
Hobson also mentions potential marketing costs if you're actively seeking out new clients or attending industry events to network.
And maybe some professional development expenses like courses or certifications to keep your skills sharp. But overall, it sounds like the financial barrier to entry is relatively low.
It is. Compared to many other businesses, freight dispatching is quite accessible for those with limited capital. But Hobson stresses that low overhead doesn't mean neglecting those good financial habits.
It's not just about bringing in the money, it's about managing it wisely.
Exactly. She recommends separate bank accounts for a business, using accounting software to track everything meticulously, and consulting a tax professional to make sure you're compliant.
It's about treating your dispatching business like a real business, not just a casual side hustle.
Yeah, that financial discipline can be the difference between a fleeting side hustle and a sustainable, profitable business.
So what are some common financial pitfalls new dispatchers should avoid? What are some red flags we should be watching out for?
One of the biggest is not setting aside enough for taxes. Remember, as a business owner, you're responsible for your own tax payments. Another common mistake is underestimating expenses or not accounting for unexpected costs.
Okay.
Things like software upgrades, marketing campaigns, or even just replacing your computer can eat into your profits if you're not prepared.
So it's about having a buffer, a financial cushion to absorb those unexpected bumps in the road, just like we talked about with the logistical side of things.
Exactly. And Hobson also cautions against overspending, especially in those early stages. Don't get caught up in fancy equipment or expensive marketing schemes before you've established a solid client base and consistent income.
It's about starting lean, proving your concept, and then scaling strategically as you grow. Hobson even talks about that on page 106, right? Building a team, expanding into new markets, that's where the real financial growth potential kicks in.
Absolutely. As you gain experience and build your reputation, you can start thinking bigger. Maybe you hire assistants to handle those day-to-day tasks, allowing you to focus on strategy and client relationships. Maybe you specialize in a particular type of freight or target a specific geographic region.
It's inspiring to think that you can start small, maybe even at your kitchen table, and build a thriving freight dispatching empire. But it all comes back to those core principles we've discussed: knowledge, skills, relationships, and sound financial management.
Hobson's book provides a fantastic blueprint, but it's up to each individual to take that blueprint and build something amazing.
Well, folks, we've reached the end of our deep dive into the world of freight dispatching. We've explored the roles, the challenges, the skills, and the financial realities of this dynamic industry. I have to say, I'm feeling pretty energized by the possibilities. It's a career path that offers flexibility, entrepreneurial freedom, and the potential to build a rewarding and profitable business. What kind of mark will you make on this industry? What unique skills, perspectives, or passions will you bring to the table? We hope this deep dive has sparked your curiosity, ignited your entrepreneurial spirit, and given you the tools to navigate the exciting world of freight dispatching. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep exploring the endless possibilities that await you.